are we supposed to do?
Good call.
Well, I'm...
Yeah, I don't know.
2 minutes, like we definitely don't need 2 minutes. That comment about the cash register, when I saw that, I can distinctly remember at least 5 separate occasions when I asked for whether the student union has actually taken any steps towards purchasing a cash register, and I was simply been told that either people feel it's not that necessary or that there is no particular rush to it because we could always do it at a later point. So when I found that in our technology closet we actually did have an old broken cash register, I did take it upon myself to attempt to fix that while I was constantly reminding the student union to buy a new one. And that was unfortunately not successful because there were actually very important parts of it missing, such as the part that actually prints receipts, which you would kind of expect of a cash register. So for that reason, you know, I did whatever I could, but you can't blame me for a not responsive student union that I am not the head of. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. All right, so now we'll take another question from the audience. Directed.
Oh, that actually looks good.
You are free to ask a question.
So I think a big problem with my Stuyvesant experience has been certain teachers that don't play by the rules. It's either they assign tests on days where they shouldn't. They assign excessive homework. They're kind of incompetent or being excessively mean to a student. So I was wanting to do either of you have a plan to force teachers to be more responsive to the needs of the students?
Did you guys understand that question?
Wait, who goes first?
I went first last time, so
That's fair.
Yes. All right, then.
So to respond directly, Ben, the SLT, the school leadership team, has really been talking about this because one of our CEP goals, which is the school's entirety goal of 2014 to 2015 the school year, is to not only, is actually listed under student support, which is to help benefit the student through any means that they can. So because of that, how many of you guys took a survey Wednesday actually, that had to deal with your teachers and they switched out of classrooms?
Obviously, I don't.
Not obviously. Some people were selected, that's why.
I did take something that in 3 days.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly, so that's why I was asking. But in clarification, yes, those surveys this year do not count towards the teacher evaluation, but they were a pioneering technique that the SLT team has tried to accommodate with the DOE as a means of not only, mitigating student stress and really trying to get the word out there that yes, we're listening to students, and next year this will be a part of their grading system for these teacher evaluations. This year it wasn't though. That's just a statement I need to make.
Are you done?
Yeah.
All right, then.
Well, while it is wonderful that the Department of Education is working towards making teachers more fair, I have personally spoken to Ms. Zhang on a couple of occasions regarding policies that teachers have that I believe are unfair towards students, one of which is actually holding quizzes within the first 2 minutes of a period, and in which case students who are late not only get a lateness, but they get a 0 for a quiz grade. And I was told by Ms. Zhang that, unfortunately, our school's administration does not actually have all that much control over what teachers can and can't do, mostly because of the power vested in teachers' unions. And for that reason, if we want to accomplish anything, Ms. Zhang cannot simply sit down, even if she wanted to, and just write up a new policy saying no teacher can give too many quizzes. That policy would actually have to be approved by virtually every teacher in STI. Therefore, the way to go about this is clearly not by bureaucracy and attempting to draft policies that do not actually carry any weight, but is by working with people, actually speaking to teachers and explaining to them that they are teachers, their jobs are to help students learn, and what they are doing is hindering exactly that. And that is about it. Or actually, to just momentarily digress, as you mentioned about reaching out to students, I did suggest back in October that the student union should actually be giving surveys out to underclassmen, which is now one of our goals for next year, because it clearly did not happen this year. In October, I talked to John Kieran and I said that I feel that the student union should be giving surveys to freshmen and sophomores, asking them what's bothering them about STI, what do they want fixed, because I want them to see that the student union cares. And that idea, along with a number of others that I suggested, either that I came up with or people told me to suggest, was also disregarded because freshmen did not receive any surveys directly from the student union asking them how they felt. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Point of clarification, the student or the teacher surveys that we filled out, right, like kind of grading the teachers, don't have, they are completely DOE provided, and they are going to be put in place to evaluate teachers, right, because before we didn't have student evaluations of teachers as a means of ensuring teacher tenure or, you know, getting bad teachers fired, and so that is the DOE, not Stuyvesant.
So it had nothing to do with the SU at all.
Nothing to do with the SU.
Did not claim that. It ties. That's what I heard.
All right, well, did you guys get 2 minutes to respond?
Partial credit.
Yes? John
I
and
mean,
Matthew?
it's been responded. Oh, okay.
Did you guys already want to respond?
Do we want to?
Do you need to?
Do we need to? No. We'll just resolve the time.
No? Okay, so next question. All right, so we'll take another question from the public.
Can I clarify?
No, we have all right, we have drink hand, we have a pen, we have
He's like,
okay,
My
okay,
choices is too much iron in your blood.
So this year, the SU has experienced a net loss of tens of thousands of dollars, in part due to fiscal mismanagement, such as failed apparel sales, as well as the subsidy of the soft frosh semi-formal. And if it continues at this current rate in 4 years, the SU should be running out of money. So as president, how would you ensure that the SU at least balances its budget, either by decreasing expenditures or increasing revenue?
all right, so
I should at least be able to speak from being on the SU. That's personally
would you like to do your clarifications now?
Can I clarify that?
You can clarify what you wanted to clarify earlier as well.
I don't know where you got your numbers from. Tens of thousands of dollars is actually just incorrect. Second of all, I don't know if you would say it's fiscally irresponsible for the semi-formal. I'll talk over it. Just about leaving the building. Also, I don't think it's fiscally irresponsible for students to subsidize tickets so that the constituency that is participating in an event pays cheaper prices.
Clarification.
That is a clarification. That is not fiscally irresponsible. That's, you know, helping your constituency. Second, sweaters is not a loss of sales because the merchandise is still kept and stored within the SU room. It is still there for future sales. Shall I clarify the things from before as well?
Yes.
I don't necessarily think it's constitutionally correct to say that nepotism will be inherent because they have everyone that is that signs up to be a cabinet member is approved or goes through a background check from this COSA. In the absence of the COSA, it was Ms. Patrick. I can take out the long list that I have, effectively.
No long list, we can't stay
Sorry.
here.
Last one, I'm just going to say, surveys we're giving out as from the SLT. The SLT had spoken to Jonathan and I about APs, things like that, standardization amongst classes. They're abolishing the thing about quests that teachers give, and they're really limiting the amount of time regarding quizzes and standardization amongst the departments for grades. So things have been done. Things will be done.
All right.
Things have been said that are false. I'm sorry, I just can't sit here and let ambiguity rule this debate.
No, we appreciate hearing a round of applause. But the question does still remain. Ryan, would you like to?
Yes, I'd like to clarify my source. My source is a member of your budget committee, who I can't state the name of because you refused to release the SU's budget information.
Right.
Just private budget information. Close to the SU and is up to the SU jurisdiction. Second of all, Ben Lanier and the Spectator who is here can assure you that in terms of increasing revenue for the Spectator, Benjamin Lanier, our CFO, has pursued sponsorship offers. Our budget department is currently working Dan Coates, you can agree to this yourself. The SU has done something to increase the revenue. So before you make any sort of accusations or claims about that, I advise you that you speak to someone like me or Mr. Palazzo, who fully knows the story.
Alright, well,
Wait, Ryan?
okay, so wait, hold on. Guys, hold on.
Here just said, can I verify that
Wait, no, this is a debate between the two tickets.
Hold on.
Kieran speak.
Ryan, would you still like the question to be answered?
Yes.
Okay, so although the ambiguity has now been vanquished by clarifications, can you please repeat the question one more time for the candidates to respond to?
So the question, ignoring the introduction, was, as president, how would you ensure that the SU at least balances its budget, either by decreasing expenditures or increasing revenue?
Okay, Shishov and Kate, you have first response.
Nice.
Nice one.
Oh no, what happened?
Nah, don't worry about it.
It's an artistic representation of my life.
Okay. You good? Go.
Before we clarify what we will do to help the student union budget, I would like to clarify what we will not do. We will not order apparel that was designed by one person with barely any input from the student body, and that has cost the student union well over $1,000 this year. And the argument that it is not lost revenue because we still have merchandise is invalid, considering that at the rate at which it's been selling, everyone sitting here right now will have graduated well before more than half of it even sells out. You cannot claim that merchandise we bought is still worth in money the amount of money we paid for it, because it clearly isn't. It isn't selling, nobody wants it, nobody wants those designs. So one thing we will do to improve the student union budget is we will host an apparel competition that is open to the entire student body, where everyone is advised, anyone with any basic drawing or design skills, is advised to submit a design for what they would like to see on student union apparel for everyone to wear. And we will open voting for those designs up to the entire student body, so that we will not only find the design that most people like, but we will know that the design that most people like is the one that is most likely to actually sell. And based on the number of people who vote for that design, we will appropriately order that many crew necks, and we will sell them at a profit to actually raise money for clubs. It would probably be worth mentioning that, well, I'll save that for now. But another thing we will not do is we will not eliminate Sing Dues, which is one of your platforms for next year, because Sing Dues provide $10,000 to the student union every single year. And one of your platforms says, along with the elimination of dues, the student union will provide a means for directors to purchase items without using their own money. If your plan, as generally as you have stated, is essentially to make Sing free for anyone to participate, you would be costing the student union $10,000 a year, and that is money that our clubs would not be getting, and that is bad. Thank you.
What Christoph does not clearly recognize that Sing Dues they do not generate money for the student union. They generate money for the Sings that they can use to input into their own budgets. The Sing's budget is comprised of a flat budget that we provide them, the student union, and the dues that they get from them. And I don't know if anyone in Sing can attest to it, but two producers from different grades. That is one factual error in your argument, and then the other is just as simple as the fact that you don't wish to eliminate Sing Dues to make everything clear-cut for students is, I wouldn't say false, but it really shows something, because not only do we want everyone to partake in Sing, the Sing Dues at most are, how much were they, $12 this year? $12, which, to be honest, a bunch of junior Sing members did not even pay for. And to further our argument about the WooPeg sales, they are seasonal attire, and you can claim whatever rate you believe they will sell out at, but there is, again, no quantifiable factor in your argument.
So I know the semi-formal was mentioned, and I just want to state that it's our responsibility as student union representatives to, make the year of the students as good as we possibly can. Even if we could just make one student's day better, it's our job to do that. So by subsidizing cheaper costs for Sing Dues and making the semi-formal just a bit cheaper so that a lower income student can come, I feel like that's responsibilities that we have to take on. Thank you.
Alright, now you guys get 2 minutes.
Right.
Well,
Hold on. All right.
arguments as to what student union, what SINC dues actually go to aside, while I'm not saying that the student union directly makes money off of SINC dues, you know, we're in STI, this is a math and science school, all you need to do is look at the math. The student union gets $10,000 a year from SINC dues. No matter how that money is invested to generate revenue, and we do make approximately $10,000 a year from SINC, as clarified by Mr. Palazzo, who I spoke to earlier today to make sure that I am not stating any inaccurate facts. If you eliminate $10,000 from our source of money for SINC, you cannot possibly expect SINC to, at the end of the day, still make $10,000 for the SU. We would not be. We would be breaking even. And that means that is $10,000 less that is going to our clubs that need money from us in order to function. So you might be caring for students who participate in SINC by saving every person $12,000, but you would be doing a lot more harm to clubs with hundreds of students that could not, in some cases, may not even be able to hold meetings without the funding that they need. That's about it. Thank you.
Can I just support a clarification? Hold on.
Only I can do that.
Okay, wait. Who's clarifying now?
Me.
On what point?
On the whole issue of what SINC dues are intended for and what they are used for. I was SINC coordinator sophomore year and executive.
All right, feel free to give a 1 minute.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be very long.
I just wanted to say that what Jonathan said about SINC dues was correct. The money is not given to the SU, it's given directly to the SINC budget for the grades that are like, so how it's done is like, depending on how many participants per grade, the appropriate amount of dues is given specifically to that grade. So if there's any extra dues left over, it's not like, it's not for the SU, it's specifically for SINC. So these checks aren't, it's not like meant for the SU, it's meant for SINC.
I clearly stated that it isn't. All I'm saying is if you take $10,000 out of our school.
You get 2 minutes to respond. No.
David.
John. But just clarification. Actually, next time, just hold up clarifications till the end, so that way everyone's
Or no clarification.
But let me before these John and Matthew go. I just want to point. I'm just going to state the schedule for the next next 20 minutes. After this point, we're going to have the candidates ask questions to each other. We're going to have a 2-minute. We're going to have a 3-minute response from one side. The candidates who are being asked the question get 3 minutes to respond. Then the people who ask the question get 2 minutes, and then the other side gets another minute. And that's how it's going to run. All right? Cool. John and Matthew. All right. Please come up.
So just fact checking aside, SINC revenue was $10,000. That's correct. And if you want to disclose the budget more, then I guess we can get more into it. Even if we did boost the SINC dues that the student union provides to each grade to the appropriate amount that would cover the dues that were in place, which would be from $2,500 to $5,000. Even then, you would still make a revenue of $2,500. And for someone that preaches looking at the math, I don't know how you missed that much money from 10,000 to 0. And then going further into the idea, SINC revenue comes because of all these investments in not only apparel and the entirety of each grade. Then if you really want to fight about the idea of revenue, then we have to be, I guess, in a sense, limit that just purchase more apparel that we can distribute throughout the entire school, and that will, I don't know why we're arguing the budget, even though we clearly just stated that the budget is up to the jurisdiction. We can increase the input of sweaters, SINC apparel, anything to really just boost the budget.
All right, thank you.
Oh wait.
All right, so now John and Matthew are going to ask the first question to Krzysztof and Kate. All right, so John and Matthew, do you have a question for the other party?
why have you, someone who champions the idea of helping underclassmen, neglected your sibling caucuses so much this year? Why have you neglected helping sophomore and freshman caucus in terms of semi-formal and freshman spring fling? And I guess a direct quote from Justine would attest to that.
Here we go.
All right.
All right. I am not sure entirely what you mean by.
Would you like a clarification?
I would actually like.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you, sir. You may.
So as someone who champions the idea of helping the underclassmen, why have you, who is supposed to serve as a role model for not only the lower caucuses, well, not only sophomore caucus, but freshman caucus as well, neglected to help them in their endeavors so much this year?
Well, I offered my help to plan the semi-formal to Matt, So, and Namra this year, and you told me that you did not need a lot of help from it because John was already helping you. So I am not sure what you mean about not offering help. I wanted to continue that tradition because George Kitsios and, well, G Squared offered us a lot of help when William and I were planning the semi-formal last year, but I offered my help and very clearly did not need it. I did, however, help you find the numbers you needed from last year for how much we spent and how much money we made. I see that hasn't been any helpful because you lost the money anyways. Moreover, one of your points was that I did not help the underclassmen caucuses. Well, I already clarified that I offered help and I did not need to, but at the risk of being pretentious, it is not even my job description that I need to work with the underclassmen caucuses, because my job description is that I have responsibility to help migrate. It is your job to work to make a cohesive student union and help the other caucuses. My job, the first point of my job is to represent the view of his or her class in all inter-student union discussions, to lead his or her grade in special projects, to promote unity within his or her grade, to serve as a voting member, to appoint one student for every homeroom in their grade to an advisory council, and so on. There's nothing in here that states that I have a responsibility to help other grades, and thus I wanted to focus on my responsibility to my grade, whereas if elected next year, it would actually be my responsibility and I would be in a better position to work with all grades and help them all at once. So you are accusing me of something that I actually am not entirely guilty of. Thank you.
You have 2 minutes to respond.
So first I would like to say that when I asked Christoph about the budget for last year's semi-formal, he was not able to bring it up. And I guess that's kind of also false to me as well, because I had a different Google Doc last year, and I lost my email password. So I guess we're both solved. But, however, something I learned, speaking from experience, is that you need a very tight connection between sophomore and freshman caucus. And I believe that one of the reasons why they were so successful this year, especially with Spring Fling, is because that, Namra and I were so willing to lend a helping hand. Last year, I did not have that relationship as much with the sophomore caucus. When I tried to pose the idea for a freshman dance, the sophomore caucus lent no hand to that. And maybe it was just because there was a different mindset in the SU last year, but, there's something to be said about the relationship that must be held between the caucuses, whether or not it's written in the Constitution explicitly. Thank you.
You guys have 1 minute. No, you're only getting rid of it for the
You're right, yeah. My bad.
I mean, I don't think there's really that much to respond to. We did work together surprisingly well last year, and we did plan a very successful semi-formal with 2 chocolate fountains in it, and you did definitely have a very big part in planning last year's semi-formal, which was a huge success. I'm not sure what you are saying there. I honestly cannot remember any mention of a freshman dance last year. However, I know that it has been proposed this year by Tina Twab, and I know that John has helped them in that. So to that extent, the Student Union Vice President has fulfilled some of his responsibilities in helping the other grades. But I believe that I have fulfilled all of mine in representing my grade and doing what is best for people who elected me.
All right.
That's it.
Next question is posed by Christoph and Kate.
Alright, I suppose to put it as simply as possible, John, one of your platforms from last year, if I can just very quickly find it here, would be to organize, I am actually just looking for the exact part where it is stated, and that is that The SU will hold more events free of charge, such as a movie night. Well, the first thing I'll say about that is, up until very recently, the only movie night we've held this year was organized during the first few months of the school year. We're asking the question already. By PACT, a student organization that was less than a year old at the time, had virtually no grounding in STI, definitely did not have any of the resources or the manpower that the student union does, and surprisingly enough, they were able to organize the movie night entirely by themselves. Something that, under your administration, the student union has failed to do up until last week, which is conveniently very well timed with elections, if I may note. So one has to wonder, yes, we have had one student union organized movie night this week. Why is it 1 week before you are to be voted on?
Why not?
So wait, what's the?
The question is, why wait so long?
For movie nights.
For movie nights. Promise, and it did not happen until last week.
Okay.
Whereas PAC got it done within a month.
Satchel, to answer your semi-formal part, that's just because it's always
My
time.
guy.
Yeah.
He didn't really offer it though. He was just.
My guy.
Yes.
3 minutes.
This is last year.
Guys.
All right. So, why did we wait so long? I guess that would just be a tie with administration in terms of So, as many of you may know, Ms. Hall likes to rent out the auditorium in giant blocks of time in, I believe, once in the spring term, but Dr. Wheeler likes to rent out the auditorium for 2 months at a time at the start of the fall term. So, yes, you're right, PACT got a jump on us with that they did accomplish that before us. And yeah, if you want to talk about convenient timing, you're right. All these events have been conveniently timed, like J-Prom, semi-formal, freshman spring fling, movie night, releasing of EDU emails. If you want to really pin it down, Christoph, if you really want to argue convenient timing, then be my guest. But to me, it was just an administrative backlash in terms of how long it took trying to get the auditorium not only situated on a day where the next day would be off. As you know, with Tassine and Palab, we've been finding a day where it would be opening to a weekend or some sort of day off so that we could maximize the turnout that we could possibly get. And we started out with Selma because,
We're actually running out of time, so you have 45.
45 seconds? All right. So we started with Selma because it's an educational movie, and that makes it easier to transition into this entirety of movie nights and the idea behind it. So to summarize, I don't think that convenient timing is something that either side should be arguing. And Matthew, do you have any final statements? Otherwise, we are done.
Alright, so we'll continue with this timer, and we have a very selected minute time, so they're gonna have a minute or so.
Yeah, so just to quickly rehash, you still did not really clearly state how come PACT was able to accomplish when the student union, with all of its wonderful leaders and at least 10 times as many resources, was not able to, even though you had the entire year to do so. In response to J-Prom and the semi-formal, those are traditionally held at the end of the year, and there's nothing surprising about the fact that they have been held, has been held the day before Chancellor's Day this year, when it has been held the day before Chancellor's Day every year for the past 4 years, if I am correct. Additionally, on your comment regarding that EDU emails, unlike you, we actually have proof that we have been working on the emails for the entire past 2 years. We have been posting updates on it every few months regarding our progress of Mr. Wong, Ms. Zhang's agreement on it, him finally handing over the information to Mr. Brown, and Mr. Brown setting up the emails. I have not seen a single update from you, essentially, showing any kind of progress that the student union has made towards getting movie nights, because I don't believe that any progress has been made until a few weeks before elections.
Alright,
Just on time.
So, we want to thank everyone for coming. We are actually past the limit that the building allows it since it is Friday. So we'd like to thank everyone for coming out to the SU debate today.